Thousands of people across the world die every single year of stomach cancer. Now we know that cancer is a broad subject, but today we're predominantly going to talk about preventing and healing stomach cancer. Now most people will say, healing cancer, is that even possible? Yes, it is possible. Just because most people die of cancer, we forget to look at the people who have actually survived. We forget to look at the people who have actually put themselves into remission using the best of conventional treatment and also making changes in their diets, the way they live, sleep, eat, think, and move as well. So it is possible. Cancer is not always a death sentence. And there'll be many emotional people out there who have lost people and they don't believe this, but that's the whole idea about changing your mindset. Today we live in a world which is induced with fear. We constantly believe that fourth stage is the last stage and there's nothing that can be done after that. But yet many of us know people in fourth stage who are constantly living year after year with their cancers in remission. So when it comes to any cancer, be it preventing or healing of cancers, the first thing we need to change is our mindset. And we need to really believe that we can be stronger than this in most cases. And yes, there are cases that don't go that well. And that's because of so many other complications like previous lifestyle, the intensity of medication, the reason that people take conventional treatment without changing the way they eat, they sleep, they think, they move. They don't just make lifestyle changes. They believe that the conventional medication is going to heal them alone. But conventional medication is not designed to heal you. It's designed to suppress the symptoms, which is still required, because while conventional medication is suppressing the symptoms, we can enable the body's immune system to kick in and actually start the healing process. So this is not about being against chemo and radiation and conventional medicine and the medical community. This is about working together with them to ensure that the patient has the best treatment, holistically as well as conventionally. Yes, there's a whole population of people that may choose not to take chemo and radiation and heal naturally. We're not talking about that, because sometimes chemo will help you, radiation will help you reduce the cancer so your immune system can kick in and work. But coming to stomach cancer, and particularly why I want to talk about this is today, because a lot of it can be prevented. A lot of stomach cancer can be prevented. Stomach cancer usually happens over years and years of abuse to your digestive system. Through eating the wrong food, eating too much of food, having acidic bodies, all of these things, little symptoms like bloating, acidity, flatulence, indigestion. I mean, if we have it, it doesn't mean we're going to get cancer, but if we constantly have it, your stomach is giving you symptoms that something is terribly wrong. And your stomach is so important for you because all the food that you eat, it is in your stomach and in your intestines that the assimilation happens of the food, to make nutrients and provide energy to trillions of cells in the human body. So your stomach is so important to you because without it, you can't really sustain life, because then you have no digestion, you don't have assimilation of food. But yet we choose to abuse this every single day because we have antacids that can take away the symptoms of acidity and bloating and flatulence and give us that warrant and that freedom to continue eating the crappy foods that is causing the acidity, or gives us that warrant to continue living our life without changing our behaviors that's causing indigestion, flatulence, bloating, and acidity. So yes, you can prevent most stomach cancers by looking at your lifestyle today. If someone has cancer today, stomach cancer, it just didn't happen today. It's been building in the body over and over the months and years, and then it finally manifests it, because you see, every human body has something called a set point. Okay, you can push the body to that set point and the body will support you, but you cross that set point and disease will kick in. It's always like that. You have a set point. The human body is incredible. And that's why we can get through days and weeks and months and even years of abusing the body. Okay, but if it's within that set point, we may be lucky. But if we push it beyond that set point, that's when all the problems happen. So when it comes down to your stomach, okay, are you digesting your food the right way is of prime importance. Now, there are some foods which are very, very powerful for your stomach health. We're going to talk about something called quercetin. Quercetin is absolutely essential when someone has stomach cancer, or obviously if you're looking at preventing it as well. Quercetin is found in onions, in raw onions. It's found in citrus fruits, broccoli, black tea, and a whole load of fruits like berries, which is why onion is so important in your diet. And in the traditional Indian diet, most people end their meals with raw onion, because it releases quercetin in the stomach and helps you balance your enzymes, and it helps you balance the immunity of the entire region in your stomach. Now, for people who have stomach cancer, I know it's a common thing for doctors to keep telling you, eat protein, eat protein, eat protein, and for the right reason, because they're worried about your weight loss. But you have to understand that it's not about protein that will put your weight on. You have to understand that there is a time that protein should get into your body if you have stomach cancer. We have an enzyme called pancreatin in our system. Pancreatin is basically an enzyme that digests protein. Pancreatin is also an enzyme that can prevent the proliferation of tumors and cancer cells in the stomach. Now, if you're constantly eating a lot of protein while you have stomach cancer, you're all the time utilizing pancreatin to break down that protein, which is why it's very, very important for people who have stomach cancer to realize that they should keep a gap of at least 12 continuous hours in their diet plan where they do not consume protein. So you're not utilizing pancreatin, which is the enzyme that can now go around trying to prevent the possible proliferation of tumors and cancer cells in the stomach. So you eat protein, but you eat it at the right time, and you keep at least a 12-hour to 14-hour gap where you can still eat your carbohydrates, your other foods, your fruits and your vegetables, and all of that stuff, which is low protein or has almost no protein, so that you allow the pancreatin enzyme to actually work for you. And this is what immunity is about. This is the intelligence of the body to heal you. But we're constantly stuffing protein down the patient's mouth who has cancer, and we're not allowing the enzymes to work the right way that they're supposed to. H. pylori is very common in people across India and many parts of the world. This is a bacteria that exists in your mucosal linings in your stomach. It's extremely important to understand that the sooner you get H. pylori out of your system, the better you are, because this H. pylori is one of the reasons why people also develop stomach cancer when it's not handled at the right time. So from using foods which are rich in allicin, like garlic, and then we're talking about onion, we're talking about mastic gum, we're talking about curcumin, which is the extract of the turmeric root. And of course, a change in lifestyle can help you get the H. pylori bacteria out of your system. It's very easy to break down H. pylori. Most people just don't do it because they don't change their lifestyles. And there are simple tests that you can do in the lab to determine if you have H. pylori. People who have H. pylori usually have continuous belching, they have bloating, they have acidity, no matter how well they eat. And they have a burning sensation sometimes in their stomach that sometimes becomes ulcers. So you want to be careful of H. pylori. Now, meats, we're talking about meats which are smoked, like your hams and your bacons, the cured meats, which are full of salt, something called nitrites, have a direct link to stomach cancer. Your smoked foods, your pickled foods, all your commercially preserved foods are high in salts that generate nitrosamines in your body. And what happens with that is it starts eating into the mucosal linings of your stomach, weakening the entire immunity of your stomach. So if you have stomach cancer, you want to stay away from all of these cured and fast foods and all of these cold storage foods which are preserved with a lot of salt, because nitrites have every link with stomach cancer. The same goes for prevention. If you're eating a lot of these hams and bacons and all of these cured meats and smoked foods, you want to be careful of nitrites, which can possibly lead to a stomach cancer if you're not looking after yourself the right way. When you have stomach cancer, and of course to prevent it as well, you want to make sure that you're not overdoing it on carbohydrates, because carbohydrates, the bad carbohydrates, raises your insulin levels. In people who have cancer, especially stomach, you do not want to have high insulin levels, and you don't want to have high IGF levels, which is the insulin growth factor, because this is literally feeding the cancer in your stomach. So when you have stomach cancer, you want to make sure that your diet is balanced equally and you're not doing too much of carbs. Do more of the complex carbs, like your vegetables and all of that stuff, your whole grains, but you want to stay away from too many of the bad, refined, simple carbs. And then we have the beauty of food that helps you rejuvenate your stomach. We're talking about allicin, which is found in garlic, raw garlic. If you don't chew raw garlic, cut it into small bits, let it get exposed to oxygen to activate the allicin, and then you can just put it in your mouth and swallow it with water. But cut the garlic if you don't want to chew it. Cooking with garlic also will help, but of course heat takes away some of the properties of garlic, not entirely. But getting garlic into your plan is absolutely essential. The right amount of omega-3 as well. It doesn't have to be fish oil. It can be omega-3 from walnuts, flax seeds, and vegetarian sources as well. Okay? Now, we're talking about salt. Excessive salt in the human body is one of the major concerns today when it comes to promoting inflammation. And most cancers are inflammatory in the body. So we're trying to reduce inflammation, okay, but here we have a disease which is inflammatory in the body. So your white refined salt has to be at the minimum, whether you have stomach cancer or you're trying to prevent stomach cancer. The refined salt is damaging us beyond belief. And it used to be okay before because we would have it only in our home food. But today we have home food and then we have outside food, which always uses more salt to make the food taste better. And then you have junk food and processed food and packaged food, which is loaded with more salt than the required daily allowance. So it's the overconsumption of salt, which is actually destroying our cells, not only in the stomach, but everywhere in the human body. So you want to move to rock salt, you want to move to pink salt, or you want to reduce the total amount of refined salt in your diet. Vitamin C and vitamin E and vitamin A are particularly powerful when it comes to stomach cancer because vitamin E and C, immunity, it helps you neutralize the free radicals and it also helps you to break down nitrites in the stomach as well. So you want to make sure that you have foods rich in vitamin C and E, or if you have to supplement as per your physician's advice, you can in cases of stomach cancer as well. Beta-glucans, you would have heard of beta-glucans. These are simple occurring polysaccharides that are found in mushrooms and grains. Absolutely powerful when it comes to cancer. In fact, most kinds of cancers. Beta-glucan foods are fantastic when it comes to helping your immunity move between cancerous cells and hopefully stop the growth. Now, what is important is the whole acidity. If we're constantly getting acidic, that means our stomach has poor health. If we're constantly bloated, we have flatulence, these are symptoms that our body keeps warning us over the months, and if we don't pay heed to it now, sometimes it develops and manifests into something more dangerous like a cancer. Now, most people have low stomach acid. You need to have the right amount of stomach acid in your stomach. Your stomach has to be at a pH of roughly 1.5 to 3, which is highly acidic to break down your food. But most people have low stomach acid levels, and that's how we get H. pylori, because you need to have the right amount of acid to break down bacteria, pathogens, germs from the food that enters your stomach, neutralize all of these things. But we have such low levels of stomach acid because we're trying to be too alkaline throughout the day, or we just have a poor digestive system, that we don't even get the right amount of enzymes generated in the human body. When you stimulate the right amount of stomach acid, you stimulate the right amount of enzymes that will effectively break down fat, protein, and carbohydrates in your stomach. When you have the effective breakdown of all these things, you don't have a problem. When it's ineffective, you have indigestion, and indigestion causes more acid and sludge to stay in your stomach and in your intestine, and that creates the breathing ground for cancer. So how can you make sure that you have the right amount of stomach acid before your meals? I like to do what the Japanese do the best. They have a little bit of ginger before their meals. A little bit of ginger will technically stimulate your stomach acids to be at the right level for breaking down food. Then you have apple cider vinegar as well. You can take a tablespoon of water 30 minutes before your meal. That will stimulate your stomach acids. Or you can sprinkle lemon over your foods because lemon will also stimulate your stomach acids. Now, a favorite drink that I put on all people who have gastric issues and stomach cancers is boiling a tablespoon of jeera, which is also called cumin, and a teaspoon of ajwain, which is also called bishop's weed. Because the combination of this, when you boil it to half its level, you let it simmer and you drink it, is extremely soothing for the stomach. It is extremely soothing for the mucosal linings. And the more we help our stomach stay strong and at the right levels of health, that's how we prevent disease. And then, of course, the last point, which we cannot forget about, is stress, because stress impacts your stomach. Have you ever noticed that when you're chronically stressed, you feel spasms in your stomach? You feel this little deep feeling in your gut, which is your stomach, because stress has every impact on your hormones, and you have hormones all over your body. So your meditation, your yoga, your pranayama plays a huge role when it comes to the equation of healing your stomach cancer, any cancer, or even preventing it. So you see, it's not just about physical. It's not about just Googling foods that can prevent stomach cancer, foods that can heal stomach cancer. Have you got the right digestion and the environment in your stomach and gut to really use the food that you eat as medicine to heal you? Have a good day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep. This 4th of February is World Cancer Day, and this entire week we're going to have videos on different cancers, trying to help people to understand, to heal. We're trying to get people to understand that it's a combination of conventional as well as you putting in effort. Just because you have money for your treatment doesn't mean your treatment's going to heal you. You've got to make lifestyle changes. The very fact that you have cancer, which is probably induced by lifestyle, if not genetics, means you got to make lifestyle changes. And the one piece of advice which most doctors probably give you, and I say most because all don't do it, is eat what you want. That is your death sentence. That is your death sentence, because you cannot eat what you want when the body is sick. Food is information and energy to trillions of cells in your body and hormones. You're either feeding the cells the right food and the right energy, or you're feeding it the wrong food and the wrong energy. If you're doing the latter, you're not gonna be able to heal, because you're not letting your immunity do what it does best for you, which is prevent and heal. Have a great day, everyone.